Alright, restart that intro. That was me. That was on me. That was my bad. Oh, what a disaster. We are live. We are live. You can do the intro now. We'll just cut it together afterwards.
As I was saying before, I was rudely interrupted by sheer technical incompetence. It is How to Catch a Gamer, the show where we talk about basically how would you catch a gamer. We discuss the certain traps, tricks, and basic things that we would use to capture a gamer and talk all things gaming. And I'm joined, of course, by to Ryan for hosting.
Hello.
And of course with Matt as well. Give us a wave.
Hey.
Oh, hey, lovely.
The tunes literally just finish and then they just cut off. So that's really good.
Yeah.
We'll definitely work on that. Beautiful. Boys.
DJ Ryan on the decks. Thanks.
Yeah. Well, we're still learning. It's going to be a long path before we get to a point in time where we're happy. If we know it runs.
Are we just talking in life? Or?
Yeah, that too. Yeah, just in general. Dick Urkel, thanks for joining us. Spawn killing and trapping. That would definitely catch a gamer. That's true.
Yeah.
Dick Urkel, I pronounced that wrong on purpose because his name's actually Dick Urkel 69, and I thought it's funny just to say it wrong all the time. Welcome, mate.
All that's missing is a 420 and a couple of X's.
Lowercase x, uppercase X. Dick Urkel 69 420.
420,
XX.
lowercase x, big T. Yeah, you know what's up.
I know what's up. I played games in the 2000s. That's for sure.
So my question would be to start us off with: Does anyone here have how would you catch a gamer this week?
Oh, beautiful. Well, I have a few ideas. Does anyone else want to start us off?
No, mate. You don't be modest. You take it.
All right. I'll go first. Pampering. I would pamper a gamer. I would pamper them, cause.
Oh, okay. Yep.
I know yourself, Johnny. You've gone through this as well, and Matt. This is kind of directed more at you than anyone now.
Right. Okay. Sure.
What would you like, right, when you go out and you get the basics done? Like, obviously, you need to get a haircut every so often. You need to, mani-pedi, just the usual things.
I know where you're going with this.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Sure.
So recently, in Japan, I've been going to hairdressers because I can't cut my own hair, and I tried to do that for about 9 months in my life, and it turned out terribly. So I just conceded at that point that I need this
really
luxury.
wish you'd live stream that. That would have been great.
Mate, I could. I could go in.
Wonderful
I could record
content.
it. Yeah, but I was pampered by the hairdresser. I went to a men's salon. Which do we even have those in Australia?
Yeah, they're called a barber.
No, I know, but men's specifically.
Yeah.
You jerk.
Yeah.
It's a
pretty close
barber.
to that
Is it a barber? Really?
Yeah.
No, I
It's a
thought
barber.
barbers are for everyone, right?
No, but
No.
barbers, they can be for everyone. They're not going to turn away women.
Yeah.
But-
But technically.
But a barber, and they
like,
do your beards and stuff?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I would say that like it doesn't really matter. But if you were going to get technical about it, hairdressers probably for women. That's where you get your dyeing done and your hair styles done, all that. And a barber would be typically for men or for children.
Well, I have not gone by that thought process my entire life, and I thought the barbers were just a generic old schooly name. But look, we're getting off track there.
Yeah.
I would use pampering to catch a gamer because it's caught me, right? I went into this men's salon, and I didn't book it for starters because calling up and booking something in Japanese is intimidating to say the least. In person, I can read gestures and we can use actions and whatnot to get the message across. So even with my, lower intermediate level of Japanese, it's fine to communicate most of the time. But booking something is not my forte. So I got the missus to do that. So thank you to her. But when I got there, it's just him, right? It's early in the morning on a Sunday. It's like 10 o'clock. I get there at like 9:45 because he tells me to get in early. He knows that I'm a foreigner before I get there. My missus has
I
warned
wonder what
him.
gave it away.
My missus has warned him. He's Australian. You'll know him. She's like, all right. I've come in to this place, right, and it's quite nice. It's a bit small, classic Japanese, very small, but quite nice. There's 2 chairs, so they can only run 2 people at a time. Next to one chair is an iPad, right? An iPad set up on a stand with Google Translate open. And I was already like,
I'm
wow,
liking where this is going.
this guy, he's really gone all out for me. I really do appreciate this.
This isn't just physical pampering. This is emotional, spiritual.
It is emotional support just to have Google Translate there. And I thought, that's a bit over the top. You know, I can converse a little bit now I'm here, but I can't, you know.
You're actually feeling a little bit
Over-pampered.
What's that? Yeah.
Over-pampered.
Patronised.
Patronised, yeah. Come sit, white boy, come sit. And
All right, mate. I'm not a dumb fuck. I mean, come on.
So I get in, I sit down. There's like an old, blind, dying dog in the corner, and a cat that won't shut up. So that was already just a fantastic sight. Classic Japan. And I don't know what's going to happen because I've been to like a different hair place every time because when you start at a hair place, you get a discount as like a first-time customer. So because my town has like a hairdresser on every corner, I just jump around. It's fantastic. But I'm definitely...
Does that expire? The first, time you go there and then you wait like 6 months and go back. Do you get the first,
Look,
again?
I don't want to be rude, but I'm the only white guy in a couple kilometer radius. I think they're going to remember me.
They're actually secretly running a competition who can get you.
Who can get me back? So he starts and everything's normal. Just he's trying to figure out what I want. No, I'm using broken Japanese to communicate. I want the sides and the back shorter and the top a bit longer, and it goes backwards and this way and whatever. And he was sitting there and he was like, "Oh, okay, beautiful. I can understand that." And I said, "Look, just whatever you recommend, I'm happy to go with." Because I did that in Australia. I thought, just cut my hair. If it's bad, it's going to grow back. It's not a big loss. It's just hair.
It's the old standby, isn't it? Because I don't know anything about hair. So when I go in, look, I kind of know what I want, but really I'm your blank canvas.
Right. Show me your skills, right? But not only did he show me the skills of cutting my hair to a reasonably, I mean, it's not styled very well at the moment, so it's a bad example of his work. But he did a great job. It was very nice. He made it, a very comforting experience. Then he washed my hair as well. So I got, and this doesn't happen in Australia, and I went to a hairdresser my whole life, just to the one because it was like one I always went to.
I think it does. I'm just saying that washing the hair is a thing in most.
Do you guys, when you go to your hairdresser or your barber, do you get your hair washed?
So here's where another difference might come in. Like, usually they don't offer this service at a barber.
True, yeah.
Well, I've went to a hairdresser my whole life.
Sometimes they have the spray bottle, right? And they like spray.
Well, that's
your hair,
that's normal to get it moist and comb it out.
But you're talking like you lead your head back into the sink.
Yeah. You get those recliner chairs back into the sink, and they give you the whole. You guys get that?
Is this the first time you've experienced this?
Yes. This is the first time I experienced this.
Wow, that's amazing. I'm jealous that you got to experience that for the first time.
Johnny, you've even gone to my hairdresser. Did they actually give you the wash?
Yeah, they've done it a couple of times.
Those sons of bitches. I've been on there like my whole life, but it's changed hands as well, and I still go to the same place.
I've never specifically requested it. It's always been offered. Like it's been, would you like your hair washed? And I've gone, you know what? Yes, I would.
Yeah.
What about you? What, Matt, would you be the same?
I was just going to say, it might actually be, well, what's the opposite to a compliment? They get you there. That's the one. Jeez.
This guy's hair is fucking rank, and I'm not touching it.
They get you there. They sit you down in the chair, and they're like, "Oh shit, I can't cut through this or whatever." So they're like, "Hey, how about a wash?" But you might have been getting compliments by
I don't need
not
a wash.
being asked. Yeah,
that's
right.
awesome.
So every
Matt,
time. You know?
Matt, you're the type of person that every friendship group needs. Bringing Ryan up instead of the usual. You've been missing out all your life. It's actually turn it around.
Look at the positive. Look at the positive.
Your hair is golden.
Well, anyway, back to my pampering session after I just found out that this was a completely normal thing, and my hairdresser had never treated me to this washing sensation in my life.
You neglected child.
So I got my hair washed. It was fantastic. They lathered me up twice, which sounds a little weird. Just my hair. They lathered my hair up twice and rinsed it out in the very nice warm water. They get their fingers in there. It's like a semi-head massage. He even asks, "Do you want to shave?" And I said, "I don't really have much of a beard. I had, a couple days max." And he's like, "Oh no, it's long." I was like, "Oh, fine. All right, shave me." And so I got the cutthroat razor shave as well.
Yeah, it's a good experience.
Right, that was my first experience doing that too. So this guy's washed my hair. He's shaved me, and then he gives me a little massage at the end, just to top things off. It's amazing.
Then he put you in an exclusive marketing campaign so that we can more customers.
Look, we get white boys. It's very good for their marketing. It's
Australian money, good.
is good. We will take foreign currency accepted. So I was well impressed by the pampering of this man. He made me feel emotionally supported with the translator. I didn't have to stress. No stress. He was ready to use it. We used it once out of the whole time I was there. It's fine. We didn't need it, but I was ready. I was comfortable. I was pampered to. Next.
That's quite good though, isn't it? Because I would say that gamers typically have a bit of a negative stereotype when it comes to personal hygiene.
It's exactly what I was going to say. To rebut your how to catch a gamer scenario, all right, I would say
how to improve a gamer.
Yeah, right. I would say that not a lot of gamers would probably come out of their dwellings with an offer of being pampered. It might.
Maybe the pampering offer will bring them out.
Okay, hear me out. You put a gaming PC in front of them.
Pamper them with something they really want.
Yep.
Okay. So
Matt's already kind of sat up. He's keen on this idea. Go on. Speak.
At the end, in addition to the receipt that you would get, obviously for payment for their services, you would get like another little receipt that's like charisma plus 10, speech plus 5. Smell plus 3.
Wait. Is smell plus 3 increasing the badness or the strength of the smell, or increasing the pleasantness?
Good smell.
Okay, good smell plus 3.
Bad would be like pungent.
I think smell is good and stink is bad, right?
Yeah,
is that
absolutely. I think that's what I would go with.
Dick Urkel has written, he never gets his hair washed and massages are a separate thing. I don't know where you're from, Dick Urkel. I'm sorry. I don't know where this is from.
No, I see what he's saying. He's saying that he's probably experienced something similar to you in that he thinks he hears massage and he thinks like your body massage, right? But the head massage is kind of, it's part and parcel. You can't really wash your hair. Even you massage your own head when you wash your hair in the shower.
But it doesn't feel the same.
But
when someone else is doing it, it's like the whole spine starts shivering, the leg starts going off. I feel like a dog. That's what I feel like. And
then she throws a ball and I go running. I don't know why.
I can't help it. It's a red ball. I got to chase it. So that's my how-to is pamper them. Pamper them. And I like to look after myself.
I think throwing in those few extras, having a setup there in front of them while they're
that was amazing.
It could reward them. Could be enough.
You know what? It might have been pampering to himself too. He might have been there's a foreigner coming in, and I've already written him down in the booking system. I'm not going to delete it and call them back. That's awkward. I'm going to have to sort out a solution.
He's just like he's seen you walk in and just be like, "Yep, this is my statue of David. I'm gonna make this guy great." This
is what he does, and I'm happy with his work. I can tell you that much. I'm happy with his work.
Brilliant.
He's done me well. So that's it. That's how to catch a gamer.
You're to catch a gamer. Fantastic. Matt, did you have a trap?
So I had a trap. It's
or a trick.
Bit of a more of a serious note. But
okay.
Basically, if I was going to catch a gamer, I might set up some enticing tournament with a huge prize pool as bait.
Yep.
So a scenario that kind of relates to this that's happened fairly recently, or at least news has come out about it, is the Overwatch League. All right, there's been a lot of disputes and whatnot in the Overwatch League apparently recently because a lot of their players and teams and stuff have basically dropped out. So
Why is
few
this?
reasons. Yeah, a few reasons for all this. One, they were being paid like way under, like, they basically weren't being paid enough. I think there was like 50 grand was their like kind of
Yeah, and
pay
it
rate.
costs like a ton to actually enter the tournament as well.
Yeah, right. And then I think it was they wanted to increase the buy-in to like 60 million per team. Right? Yeah, right. And the prize pool at the end of tournaments is like 3 million or something. So basically they weren't doing what I was saying, where you
Also, a lot of that would go to the company sponsoring the team.
Yeah.
Hang on, let me get this straight. So to buy in to enter the tournament, you pay 60. To hang on, sorry boys, one sec.
Oh, he's
okay.
out.
All right. Oh, he's gone.
So to enter the tournament was 60 million.
I'm back. Sorry.
Okay.
To enter the tournament, don't blame me. Blame other people.
Blame life.
To enter is 60, and you win 3.
Yeah, like 3.5 or something was the winnings. Apparently, the way they were meant to be making money was like sponsorships and merchandise and all that kind of thing. So like being in the tournament wasn't what was making them money. Then they could go out and like resell, merchandise and all that of their teams to actually make all the money. But yeah, basically it's just all flopped. Every single team is just in the red. Like no team's making any money, and the main obviously winner in this is the actual league itself that takes in the $60 million per team.
Blizzard,
Blizzard,
Overwatch.
right?
Yeah.
Blizzard.
Does Blizzard is running this tournament?
They own Overwatch.
Yeah. Overwatch. So this is for Overwatch, but
they're having a bad time.
Yeah.
Sounds
so
like
they just don't know. They don't really know the current state, like what the tournament's going to be next year or this year or whatever, and all that. But
yeah,
it's just it's very poorly handled. Basically, it's just been.
So wait, hang on. Let's back step a little bit, because I'm a little bit lost in how the gamer is caught in this scenario. You bait them in with false leads of victory, and then quickly swipe the prize money away.
Yeah. Well, no. So these guys have done it. Blizzard have done it in the opposite, right? They failed at enacting my trap because they've offered a low prize pool.
They have had previous tournaments, haven't they, that have been quite successful. This is not the first tournament.
Overwatch has been successful, but
Overwatch was successful, but they tried to do it with Heroes of the Storm as well, right? And then they basically just said, I think like a couple of years ago now, that they were stopping all funding for esports for Heroes of the Storm. StarCraft was obviously one of the first esports games ever. That was by Blizzard, but that
was a big one.
It was a big one, like that started esports, but compared to the current world of esports, StarCraft was never anywhere near as big as what like League of Legends or Dota or whatever is today.
Yeah, that's true.
So if they can't continue to make these tournaments good, like that's a multi-million-dollar vacuum they're creating there. Surely someone's gonna have to fill that spot.
Yeah.
That is exactly correct.
Yeah.
But who?
Chinese people. Chinese companies.
No idea. Well, see, Blizzard's whole goal was to basically create like a NHL or whatever it is, the national football thing in America of esports. Like that's what they wanted to be. They wanted to be that. So they were hoping. I think I read that they were hoping that some like NHL owner with like bottomless pits of money would kind of just invest into esports.
Why wouldn't you?
That was their whole business plan. Just like, hey, we'll just get one of these guys on board. And none of them got on board. And now they're
shockingly, yeah.
The twist of the century.
Doesn't NHL do it correctly? They swindle their players correctly, right? They don't pay any of the college footballers that bring in hundreds of thousands. Because I know college football over in America is huge, right? It's nearly as big as the real event.
Bigger than the NFL.
But they don't have to pay players because they're students. I think that might be changing somewhat recently, or it might not be changing. One of the two, one of the two. But they have nailed the program of swindling players and making them work hard for very little reward or no reward. And it's a strange system they've got set up. But esports, why not follow suit with that terrible style and see what happens? Yeah.
Well, and
I'll never forget the first time I saw esports. I was absolutely blown. It was probably like 2 or 3 years ago, and I realized it was the thing. We had these League of Legends sort of tournaments. I've never really been into those sorts of games, but I was at a mate's house who was like, "Oh, I'm gonna chuck the league on." I'm like, "Oh yeah, what sport do you follow?" He's like, "Oh no, I'm gonna chuck league on." I'm like, "Oh, okay, like yeah, sure." Like fully expecting sort of like an internet cafe to be hired out and
Yeah,
very
like 20
amateur.
people standing up. Yeah.
Right, and then we cut to it, and I'm like, "Oh, wrong channel, mate. This is the London opening ceremony for the Olympics." He's like, no, this is league. And there's commentators, and there's a full stadium full, and there's light shows and loads of shows, and I was like,
It's crazy, isn't it?
holy shit, this is incredible.
Yep.
It's
Well,
crazy.
that's basically what Blizzard wanted to, replicate, but also have this system where they don't pay their players very much, and
take a lot
buy
of
in for
money.
teams that and just try and take it all, and
It's crazy, isn't it?
Didn't work out.
And this is only like, I'm not too cross current affairs in gaming, but this is only the latest in a series of bad choices by Blizzard, isn't it?
Yeah. Well.
Yeah. What was their last big kerfuffle?
The Hong Kong thing, wasn't it? Like someone tried to.
They did fix that eventually, but it was a bad way to handle it. No, they ended up giving him his money and a reduced ban.
Okay.
So
it could be argued that the only reason that happened was because of the absolute outrage.
Citation needed.
Yeah.
Yeah. But
good on them.
Yeah, I mean, they had the Diablo announcement, which was an absolute disaster as well.
That's right.
The mobile phone Diablo instead of Diablo 4. That was incredible. I still to this day think that is one of the best moves they've ever pulled. And then the train wreck of the interview after that. If you haven't seen the video, look it up. It's fantastic.
I'd love to, because I love stuff like that.
So I can't watch some TV shows because I feel it too much. I'm like, oh, this hurts. Oh. And watching that guy on stage get insulted time after time with like no backup as it arrives. He's just on his own. But
it was kind of like watching the guy who plays the Hulk spoil Infinity War. There's an interview where he spoils Infinity War. I can't remember the actor's name, and it is so painful to watch. And you can see him really starting to freak out. Like even so he makes the mistake of coming back to address it and turning to the interview, like, "Am I in trouble?" It's like, yes, you are.
Yeah, you're in a bit of trouble. Yeah, a lot of game companies haven't been doing so well lately. But the ones that have been doing well is like Tencent, which owns Riot Games. I think that's it. The Chinese super mega gaming corporation. It's not just a gaming corporation. They are just a super mega corporation in China.
Well, Activision is they're
Activision
run Blizzard or whatever. So Blizzard are owned by Activision. So it's more Activision that are making these calls about how to set up tournaments and all that kind of thing. But
is it a partnership? They have like a contracted partnership, or is it actually ownership?
I think the head company, so there's Blizzard, and the head company, owning company or whatever, is actually called Activision Blizzard.
Yeah, because I've looked up the stocks for that. I really wanted to see it plummet after one of the news problems, and I watched it and it didn't really move. But Activision Blizzard is the parent company. But I don't know if that's like a partnership they signed a contract to, or if they just sold out the rights to Activision to create a partner, but like a mother partner business. I'm not sure. Yeah.
That's not how to catch a gamer. Is that?
That's how you wouldn't do it. Well, unless you want to catch them and then just
throw them away.
Yeah, throw them away.
You can set that up for like the next one person's like, here's how to lose a gamer. Now you go catch it.
Yeah. What a disaster! God.
Yeah.
That's
anyway, John, mate.
Yeah.
How would you catch a gamer?
Okay, here's how I would catch a gamer. This week I experimented with a little thing called pre-workout.
Oh.
Has anyone here ever taken any pre-workout?
It's essentially a shot of coffee to your blood and your muscles, right?
I think there's definitely a lot of caffeine in there. There's a lot of other stuff that I have no idea.
A couple Red Bulls at once. I've taken it a couple times, and I was not a fan.
Chuck in jet fuel, and you'll have something that's a little bit So how I would catch a gamer is gamers typically, they're night owls. They do enjoy their caffeine in the form, not so much coffee. That's more of connoisseur's drink, but in the form of Monster and Red Bull and that sort of thing. So why not spike their Red Bull and their Monster with a little bit of pre-workout, and they'll get so hooked to the results, the gains, the gains from their super high focus when they're playing League or
I see what
or
you're
Overwatch
saying.
or whatever have you. The
They're
sheer
gonna...
focus.
Sorry, go on.
The sheer focus and energy that they will have will get them hooked, and we'll get them. We'll catch them.
So we should release a branded version of Gamer.
Yes, that's what I'm saying.
Gamer.
Pre-game out.
Okay.
Pre-game out.
This is actually interesting because I know there's a couple of Twitch streamers and whatnot that have their own kind of jet fuel or whatever you like. I think the actual brand name is literally called Jet Fuel.
Jet Fuel. I've seen that actually. Yeah, I've seen Jet Fuel.
But
so what does it do?
Is it a pre-workout, that one? I don't know. I just saw the advertisement on their streams and whatnot.
No, but they're like, so pre-workout obviously is for pre-workout. It's for physical exercise. And yes, I know that gaming is becoming a sport, but it's not physical exercise.
See, the thing is, with the pre-workout, it's for macro movements, right? As in, you're using large muscle sets to move large objects. Whereas
you're moving your whole body.
Gaming is using your little mouse to click on another character's head, and that is a lot of micro movements. We should develop sort of an injection for just hands. Your hands get massive and really quick twitch reflexes, and therefore they can just zip across those keyboards. They'll turn their heads from 4 heads to 5 heads. That's what we're aiming at, all right? We're
maybe come up with like a thumb movement exercise. Like do 5. Do
right.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Yeah. All right, 5 nail raisers. Let's go. Nail raisers. Go.
I reckon that would cause you to have what's that? The carpal tunnel even quicker.
Carpal tunnel.
I think that would cause that to come on even quicker.
Who knows? We need guinea pigs for this scientific experiment. And, I'm not going to be one of them.
If I'm to jump on board, I think we could catch gamers by selling out gloves that fit over the thumb and the wrist area, therefore reducing injury to the wrist thumb area.
How does a glove?
It's like a bandage. We're just selling a bandage, but we've got a brand on it.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
I wanted to sound really smart, but it is just a bandage.
Yeah. And when we sell it for like 120% price increase.
That's right. And we sell it with a tub of pre-game out. All right? And they'll be like, they'll be freaking out. They'll be freaking out, but their wrists are safe. We look after our consumers. Yeah.
I love it. But it could also it could just be a way to encourage, that the gamers do in between sessions get a little bit of physical exercise. So they do their league stuff, and if they're so jacked up on pre-workout, the only choice they have to let that energy go is to do a set of curl irons, but next to the.
And that way, we're increasing the gamer's health and physique.
That's exactly right.
And therefore, we are probably the best people in the world. I don't want to jump to conclusions, but if that's what we're doing.
You get 1 point, you do another chest press. It's as simple as that.
If you die, 3 push-ups. Don't die.
Yeah.
But with your heart racing...
It's good.
Yeah.
There are so many applications. You could even design a chair that has to be supported by them doing calf raises.
What are those chairs that are for your back support?
No, it's improvement, Matt. It's improvement.
Look at the positives. Where'd your positivity go?
Right.
Okay.
Yes. Yeah.
If you had one of those back support chairs, I think that would be a big help, because I find even in a proper office chair, I am constantly slouching and
leaning forward. Yeah.
Yeah, my legs are up on my computer. I'll eat and I'll just start leaning back. It's bad. Posture's a bad one.
How do you guys rate standing desks? They're very popular now.
Oh, I think depending on the work, if you're playing games, probably not such a great idea to be on your feet for 8 hours a day at one desk. But if you are, moving between, if you're at a stand-up kind of a job and you're moving between offices and stuff, I think it's an alright idea.
I don't know. Even with gaming, like there's that well-known meme that as soon as you start losing, you sort of lean forward and you take more of a concentrated pose. Like I could definitely be someone who wouldn't do it for 8 hours straight, but maybe 1 hour sitting down. Okay, so go stand up now and put the desk up.
Yeah.
And game standing up for a bit.
We have them at work, and so just the devs had them, and then we got them for the whole office, and we had this one guy, old guy, who was adamant he wouldn't like them, and adamant, it's just a phase, it's a fad, whatever. And as soon as he got it, every day he stands now. Like
Old people
like,
are the best at that.
After lunch, he'd be standing. He's like, I love this thing. Like, it's like, jeez.
They're not cheap, are they? They're quite expensive.
Nah,
standing desks. They
I
are.
I think they bought them from IKEA. So.
So they're really good ones, high quality.
Nice. Like they're probably called something like Hjorpedorp.
Standing desks. Yeah, that's exciting. I don't know. I never really thought standing desks would catch on, but I did see them like 3 or 4 years ago when they were like just coming out, and I was like, huh. I mean, it's good, but my feet already hurt from like 30 minutes of standing. I couldn't imagine doing it for a couple hours.
Because you're a gigantic pussy, aren't you?
I do have a bit of pussy feet, yeah. That's true, you got me. Yeah. Gamer caught right there.
I've identified the gamer. Execution.
Finish him. Very good. Oh god. So I wanted to ask you guys. It's not exactly a how to catch a gamer, but it is just a question about yourself. Yep. What was the first game that you guys played that you remember that really caught you? That like going back maybe even before PC, but because PC is what we do mainly, PC gaming. But let's do like your first game memory and then your first PC game memory. Let's do that. What do you guys? Okay. I know I asked the question, and I don't even know myself.
Okay, okay. Mine would definitely be. I played Sonic on the Sega at my grandparents' house. Yeah, every time we went over. That would be my first gaming experience, I guess. So it was probably like 7 or something. And then for my PC gaming, I actually feel like a lot of us will have the same answer to this. And the PC gaming one was the out of the Nutri-Grain box, Age of Empires.
In the computer. Yeah, no, I remember that.
Yeah.
In case people don't know what Nutri-Grain is, do you want to tell them what that is?
It's just a cereal, very popular.
It's fuel. It's pure fuel.
Right.
It's the pre-workout before pre-workout was a thing. They had people doing Ironmans and breaking through walls and shit on their ads. It was great. It's a breakfast cereal.
Iron Man food.
And in that box, for whatever reason, they included a disc to Age of Empires.
Yeah, and it wasn't even a demo. It was the full game.
No, it was the full game of Age of Empires. And
what crazy motherfucker marketer thought, we're just going to put them all in these boxes for free? Because 20 years later, they're going to come back with nostalgia when we re-release a HD version. It's going to be great.
Microsoft just got so excited on the production lines that we've actually built more discs than there are computers. We need to get rid of it.
It was weird, wasn't it? Like that was like maybe a 5 to 10 year time period of games being thrown in breakfast cereal boxes and like newspapers, or you bought a book and you got like the Halo demo. Some weird stuff like that. Games would just come with it. And you'd be like, I don't even have a computer at this stage in my existence. But okay, I'll take it and keep it.
But I've got 3 copies of Age of Empires.
I know.
Yeah, nice. That was good. I enjoyed that.
That was good. John?
First experience, it's hard to, like, it's such a long time ago, and then it was such a sort of,
I put you on the spot
there's a lot going on at the same time, but I would have to say that one of my earliest memories of gaming that actually meant something to me, like I knew that this was probably something that I was going to enjoy for a very long time, was Ocarina of Time. Because I am a huge my genre of gaming preference is open world, and especially medieval. I was into Lord of the Rings and all that sort of stuff, and to play a game, I mean, even on the Nintendo 64, it looked incredible. And it was huge. Like Ocarina of Time, even for its day, was massive. And I remember, and to do a little bit of a throw to a game like The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt. I remember, you guys played Witcher 3.
I have, yeah.
Nope.
Yeah.
I have not,
Uh,
but yeah.
So Matt, I haven't played much of it, but there's a city, Matt, in The Witcher 3, and it's a pretty open world game. The city's called
Yeah.
Novigrad, and
Yeah.
basically that city represents to me the pinnacle of everything I've ever wanted in a medieval open world game. Like it could be a map in of itself, in its own self-contained game. It's huge. You can get lost in
Yeah.
this thing. So that would be my earliest experience. I only got on the PC bandwagon like properly in
Not
like
long ago.
2014. Because I used to play like The Sims and stuff, and I would have a laptop, but the laptop never really held up. I used to play
Burn
Total
your
War.
thighs if you sit on your lap for too
Yeah.
long. Yeah. It's
Yeah.
classic.
So my memory of my first like proper, I went and bought a gaming PC, and I bought that for the game DayZ, which is essentially the most open world game you can possibly play. There's no rules, there's no story. It's just survival. So
I'm sure
that's
people
what
will
I-
disagree with that statement, but I understand where you're coming from. Yeah. No,
My
it
opinion.
is open. It's an open world survival game. It is good.
Yeah.
I thought I've heard too many bad stories about it, so I never really got into it.
Oh, it's
But,
shockingly developed. It's awful.
Yeah.
It's a game I love to hate.
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's good. So, I just to add on to the Witcher thing, the Novigrad city. I remember you telling me as well that it was the first city you walked into, and it felt alive with
100%.
NPCs walking around and just weird interactions happening and stuff like that. So, I agree with you. The Witcher 3 really made some good benchmarks for future RPG open world games.
But you can genuinely get lost in that city. It's not like Elder Scrolls, which is probably one of my biggest criticisms of any Elder Scrolls game, is that the towns in that game they're really just small outposts. They're not really. It's like 5 or 6 houses. Solitude was pretty good in Skyrim, but in Novigrad it's like, nah, this is
Yeah, there's a big boy.
city.
It was a big boy.
Yeah.
And the
it's
no
impressive.
loading screens was very nice. Just
Yeah,
having all that
yeah, just-
progressive passive loading, I think it's called. Yeah.
Walking straight in. It's like, wow, that's pretty incredible.
Yeah. Well, I've been thinking, since you guys have been talking about yours, about my first game experience. And it would have to go back to 64, Nintendo 64. I did play a little bit on the Super
You're
Nintendo.
going to say 1964. What?
19-2. We had to call it
It was a
that.
damn good year. Sorry, carry on.
No, 64, the Nintendo. I played a little bit as a Super Nintendo, but that was like as I was too young to really comprehend how to move my thumbs and my fingers at different times. I was kind of just a button mashing machine. I was too young to really comprehend that. But Nintendo 64, with its crazy controller design of 3-prong for 2 hands, still don't understand why they thought that was the thing, but Japanese, they know how to make stuff. I remember the first games that I really got into that I could play by myself without having to ask my older brother was like the Zelda games. Even though at some points I was too scared to continue because I was a big puss when I was a kid.
Scary games for kids.
Oh, for
Scary
sure.
games.
And the realistic graphics of that time. Oh, terrifying. But I remember one game comes to mind a bit is Conker's Bad Fur Day, if you guys do know of that. It was like one of the first games that came out with like crude jokes and there was poo in the game and it was like an open world RPG and it was very strange to explain now what it was, but I definitely recommend go look up Conker's Bad Fur Day when you can and just have a look at what it was. And I think they re-released it even. I never got into it, but so that was my early gaming experience was the 64. But moving
64.
forward,
The machine of a generation.
oh for sure, and it was like one of the first machines that really did it well as well.
Yeah, absolutely. It was like the graphics were. I reckon I still stand up to this. I think that the graphics were better than the PlayStation. The PlayStation might have had better game titles,
Yeah,
and more like better mechanics. It could run in more impressive games, but the graphics on the 64 were very, very good for their time.
yeah, and PC. It'd be hard to say. I was thinking Halo, but that came out on Xbox, and I played that on Xbox first, before PC. But PC, like, I remember going to your house, Matt, way back in the day, and you showing me World of Warcraft, which is something to bring up. Like, I remember I played Age of Empires and all that, for sure.
Yeah.
And they were fine. I played Warcraft 3, but I never really stuck with PC gaming from then. It was just kind of, oh, this is fun, but I'll always play Xbox more, or Xbox 360 or something. But when I got WoW, oh boy, did that ruin my high school.
The making of an addict.
What year was that? Do you remember, Matt? Do you remember what year you started?
Like 2005.
Like what grade you were in? Grade 7?
Maybe like 7, yeah, 7 or 8.
Middle school?
I think it was, yeah. Definitely very early middle school, but yeah.
Yeah. So I was probably maybe grade 9, grade 10. Middle school, high
year
school?
7. Year 7 is 2006.
Yeah, well, I don't know when I started was what I'm thinking.
The game, I think, came out in 2006, and I had started just before the expansion, not just before, like 6 months before the next expansion came out, which was in 2007, I think.
Those were my RuneScape days.
I did play that as well.
RuneScape was a competitor, definitely back in the day. Yeah,
it was free. That was the big one. Yeah,
it was free.
You had the RuneScape gang and the WoW gang.
Yeah, the WoW gang, they were the money bags. They just toss money at the screen. They don't even care. The RuneScape guys like, you filth. They're buying sausage rolls from the canteen that cost $4 or $5, but they wouldn't spend $15 a month on a game. Oh, ridiculous. But no, I remember playing WoW, but having to use dial-up broadband to get onto WoW.
Yeah.
And I remember asking my parents, like, I'm just going to play some World of Warcraft. Is that all right? Because you have to get permission to do this. Otherwise, they won't get phone calls or anything, obviously. And they're like, all right, well, how long will you be? And I was like, oh, as long as possible, actually.
About 7 hours.
Yeah. But I remember even waking up...
RuneScape. First digital girlfriend on RuneScape. At least I think she was a girl. Who knows?
Probably a girl, right?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
There was a time of digital girlfriends. It was very strange back then.
That's right.
That's before people lied on the internet, I feel.
I have very, very fond memories of my times with GG Ponytail. May she be happy.
Wherever she is now, here's to you, GG Ponytail. Yeah.
But then there's always the possibility that I was definitely groomed when I was a child. So I'm just gonna hold on to what I know.
Yeah, it was a female. But yeah, no, I remember playing WoW as my first big PC gaming experience. And I would wake up at like 4 a.m. and sneak into the computer office because this is before people had computers in their rooms. Sneak into the house, computer office, and then just start playing WoW for hours. I have visual memories as I say that. I can see it in front of me. It's incredible.
Yeah.
God, and that ruined me in junior school, middle school, and high school. Not junior school, sorry. Middle school and high school. That ruined me there. I was not a good student. Nor did I care to be a good student, actually. No. It's not until, late university. Like, me and Johnny, we even went to college, and we call TAFE in Australia college, I think everywhere else. We went there, and we still didn't care about studying.
Nah, not much.
So, it wasn't until, like the last year of university where I actually put my head down, and then I realised it was too late.
Missed that bus.
Shit. Just 17 years late. But yeah, they were
good times there.
They were good times. I wish I could go back and do it again. I don't think I'd change anything. I had so much fun waking up and staying up late, and I don't know how I did it. I stay up till 12 p.m. and I'm like, I could go to bed for about another 12 hours. I'm exhausted.
Yeah.
I genuinely set my alarm clock. I see that I've got 7.5 hours to go, and I'm like, oh, man, that's not enough.
I know. How old have we become? It's not even old. That's the weird part. I wait until like another 10 years, like mid-30s, and I don't know what's gonna happen. 7 o'clock rolls around, I'll be like,
wake up at 12 the next day. Yeah. Well, that was a good sleep. Good nap.
Looks
good
like
nap.
I'm not going to work today. God. What a weird place to be. What a weird time to be a gamer growing up too. like to have
On the frontier.
Yeah.
You
Well,
are
yeah,
like
our generation definitely was
Yeah.
the frontier of it all. But
I don't know, the old
Yeah.
Pong champions of the 80s would disagree.
yeah. I
true.
don't think they're playing modern games now. I don't know. So
they still play
citation
Pong.
needed. Yeah, they're still
Yeah.
Pong pros.
Pong remastered.
Or they're dead. We don't know.
It's only the 80s, mate.
Yeah, but they started in their 40s, all right? So there's another 40 years for old people. That's like a generation or two ago. They didn't live a healthy lifestyle like we live and getting groomed and pampered like we are. We get groomed, we get pampered, we put on moisturizers. They were smoking because it was healthy from the doctors. They were doing labor work. No way are they surviving as long as we are. No wonder people are living older, you know? No wonder.
You're talking as if these people are from like the 1920s or something.
They might as well be. They might as well be. Nothing's changed.
It's like these old black and white photos of the First World War and a couple of soldiers like just playing Pong, in the trench.
Yeah. God. That's what it feels like, at least. Do you remember when you were kids and you saw a 50-year-old or a 40-year-old and you were like, God, they look old.
Yeah.
They have sun-damaged skin. They are wrinkly. They are leather bag-looking old people. And now you see a 40, 50-year-old, you're like, yeah, looking good. Late 30s, for sure. Late 30s.
I remember
yeah.
the transition. The transition when I was around, even like as young as 18, 19, because I had a beard and stuff. And in public, you see like mum and a little kid, and the kid bumps into you or something, and you hear the mum say these words: "Look out for the man." And you realise all of a sudden that they are referring to you as the
I'm
man.
a big boy. I'm a big boy.
And I feel the need to correct them. It's like, I'm not a man.
I do not know how to tax. Excuse me. You are mistaken for someone more responsible.
I am a grown boy. Thank you very much.
Yeah. I still feel like a grown boy. You know? I kind of sit around and I have to do taxes. I have to do a visa because I live in a foreign country. What the fuck is that? Come on.
Yeah, that's,
I had to go to
not a fun
uni.
game.
I had to go to uni to get a bachelor to get a visa. And I'm over here now, and my visa's like I have to extend my visa. And oh my god, I don't know what I'm doing. It's crazy. And I'm supposed to be an adult. Oh come on.
I'll just play games and escape. Thank you very much.
I barely go to bed on time, and and they want me to find my way to get a visa. Come on, this is ridiculous.
All right, boys, might have to call it.
That's fair, mate.
Yeah.
Yep. It's been good. It's been great.
Do you want to do a thanks for listening?
I sure can. Thanks for listening.
Done. Very good. Short, sweet, to the point. Jesus.
No, this has been How to Catch a Gamer. I believe we've caught 3 gamers, 3 out of 3 today.
Fair
with
effort.
all of our points. So that's a plus gold star level up for us.
Yeah. That's at
Awesome.
least
And
a lot of XP.
as always, we'll be back. We'll be back next week.
Yeah, we will. Thank you very much. We will be back hopefully Sunday. That's usually the recording time. But
Yeah.
we will be back. So thank you very much for listening, and thank you, Matt. Thank you, John. Have a good one.
Thank you. Thank you for hosting. Thank you
No
for hosting
worries.
as always.
Ta-ta.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Too easy, mate.